All eyes are on Alaska, which is gearing up to host a one-on-one meeting between the US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. Before the climax, we are looking at three essential questions. Has Ukraine lost control over its own future? Why are experts saying the US is making a mistake? And does Russia want a forever war? I'm Ananya Datta and this is Grey Zone. The situation today is eerily similar to what had happened in 1945 Yalta. The big three, the US, UK and Soviets, got together to decide the future of Europe. Funnily enough, the meeting took place in a city that today sits in Russian-annexed Crimea. Three things happened in that meeting that give a sense of déjà vu in contemporary geopolitics. The Soviets had an upper hand in the battlefield. The US played an active role in tearing apart countries in a continent it wasn't even part of. And Poland, a country not even on the table, had to give away its land to the Soviets. As US President Donald Trump boards Air Force One to Alaska, there is visible anxiety in Brussels and Kiev that it could be a repeat of Yalta.
Firstly, and obviously, there could be no negotiations about Ukraine without Ukraine.
I told the US President, Donald Trump, and all our European colleagues that Putin is bluffing. We have made it clear that Ukraine must be at the table as soon as follow-up meetings take place. We want the negotiations to proceed in the right order. A ceasefire must come first.
Trump has already said that if the Friday talks go well, he will invite Zelensky and Putin to meet face-to-face, which has never happened in the course of the war. But not everyone is optimistic.
The breakthrough may actually have been a misunderstanding by the chief diplomat from the American side, Steve Witkoff, who may have misunderstood Putin to be ready to withdraw troops from the Zaporizhia and Kherson region, whereas that was not something communicated. So I don't see really the space here for a real breakthrough.
But say the direct meeting happens, it won't be a clean slate. The meeting will come with preconditions set prior and Zelensky will have to work with them. So why is a deal like this being pushed? Two reasons. One is a stalemate and two, America First policy. Trump has said on multiple occasions that this war wouldn't have happened if he was the president. But since becoming president, Trump's own approach to the war has been all over the place. We have compiled his major statements since the campaign days to today.
I will settle the war in Ukraine before I even take office. I'll settle it as president-elect. I met with President Zelensky the other day. I know President Putin very well. I'll get it settled.
I think President Putin wants peace and President Zelensky wants peace, and I want peace.
If you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this, I tell you. But we had a great success yesterday. We have a full ceasefire if it kicks in. We have to see. It's up to Russia now. We will send them Patriots, which they desperately need, because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. I'm going to meet with President Putin and we're going to see what he has in mind. And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first.
Trump doesn't have even 1/10 of the confidence he had on the peace talks during his campaign days. He was first frustrated with Zelensky, then with Putin, so much so that he threatened to abandon the peace process. This flip-flop has been confusing to many analysts.
Many statements by Trump and his administration that are, to me at least, documenting sheer incompetence. So he alleges that Zelensky has somehow started the war and that Putin wants peace and these things. And they simply document that he and his advisors and the people around him do not really understand the situation in Eastern Europe.
You see, Trump has to look beyond his term and think about how this war can benefit the United States in the long run. Ukraine isn't just an ally for the Americans, it's a direct window into what Russia is planning next. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962? When the Soviets stationed nuclear missiles in sugarcane fields just 150 kilometers off the Florida coast. The Soviets were trying to do pretty much the same thing. And today, Washington is flipping the script. A peace deal could lock in a permanent American presence at Russia's border. What repercussions that will bring is something Russia should think about now. Speaking of Russia, if this war is about existence for Kiev, it's about relevance for Moscow. After the fall of the Soviet Union, Russia has found it hard to stay relevant. 11 years ago, it annexed Ukraine's Crimea. The war as such had no benefits for Vladimir Putin and his entourage. But during the last 3 years, Putin's regime has changed. On the domestic front, the war has become a stabilizing function for the Russian political system. And on the international scale, Moscow has proven its economic might, may survive the Western sanctions, at the same time managed to keep the lights on.
There is the suspicion that Russia may have some so-called compromat on Trump, compromising material from his earlier biography as a businessman, and that it can pressure privately Trump with this compromising material. And so the power dynamic here is a very strange one.
Alaska may be thousands of kilometers from the trenches of Donetsk, but for the next 24 hours, it will be the center of the battlefield. Two leaders will walk into that room with their own maps, their own red lines, and their own version of peace. Ukraine will be watching from the sidelines. Europe will be losing any leverage it had, and the rest of the world, us, will be asking the same question. Is this the final move in the game or the opening of an even bigger one? I'm Ananya Datta. Thanks for watching Grey Zone.